Hello and welcome to Jill Cameron Creations. Today I'm doing a one-layer card of Copic coloring with some Concord 9th stamps. This is the daily wear set, and this is my sketch. I actually use the stamps. I have a notebook that has all of my sketches and stuff in it. Sometimes I do them digitally, but most of the time I'm able to carry my notebook downstairs with the stamp set and sit in front of the TV and do some sketches and make notes and that kind of thing, and that's how I kind of come up with my designs. I am stamping on Nina Solar White 80-pound cardstock. I Copic color on 80-pound cardstock. I don't Copic color on the 110-pound. It sucks up too much ink, so I like to do 80-pound coloring. And sorry, my head's in the way here. And ignore my black fingernails. I was sent a sample of the Color Street nails, and the black ones were something that I wouldn't wear for myself usually, so that's what I practiced on, and I have a couple other sets that I'm going to try out and see how I like those. I am using a Project Life pen that is black, and it's a broader tip than the fine point, but it's not exactly a broad tip either, and that's what I'm using to draw all of my lines in here. I didn't sketch anything in pencil on my actual card panel because I had already sketched out what I was going to do previously over in my sketchbook, so I knew kind of the placement of everything. And my panel that I draw in my sketchbook for my ideas and things, I use a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch rectangle to sketch into, so that it is actually what I am utilizing in my cards. And I'm just sketching out the lamp, and then I'm gonna use my T-square ruler, and I'm gonna put a window behind her head. And we're gonna be using some distress inks, just straight up distress inks, not distress oxides, but some distress inks to actually put color into the background instead of using Copic markers to put color in the background completely. That will actually save your Copic markers from, using all of that ink up. And let's face it, Copic markers and the ink and the refills are not cheap. So anything that we can do to utilize our materials the best possible way is a great idea. And Copic, in the distress inks, the straight up distress inks, you can Copic color on top of those. Not a problem at all. So I chose some really earthy tones because I wanted this card to be really, really, really warm, and I wanted her reading to be the center and focal point of this card. I am putting some masks down. I should have actually snipped that one off a little bit because it goes over the edge of my table. That's absolutely fine though. I'll fix that in a minute. So I am using some really warm colors that I don't usually use. I'm using gathered twigs and scattered straw and old paper as my distress inks. And I'm going to be using some of the dome applicators from scrapbook.com to put my ink on the paper. When I did this at first, I wasn't really thrilled with it, and I actually go over top of this with a Copic marker, and you'll see that in just a few minutes, where I go over top of all of the distress ink above the table line that's on the wall with a little bit cooler color, and it gives the entire background a really different look. And I stamped the background incompletely, and you'll see what I mean by that in just a minute as well. I stamped it I wanted it to be very, very loose looking. I didn't want it to be definitively, oh, this is what's in the background. So you'll see what I mean. I left my ink blending very open, very blotchy. I didn't want it to be the focal point of this, so it's not. It's very much the girl reading the book is beside the lamp is very much the focal point of this card. Even the sentiment kind of blends into the background a little bit. So that's how I wanted to do it. And I just took I used gathered twigs on this stamp, and this is an older stamp by MFT, It's the scattered background. It's one of my favorite stamps to add texture to a background. And I didn't ink it up far enough down. And that's perfectly fine. I just left it as it was. Pull off all of my masks. And I will use a craft knife to help me pull off the rest of the masks that I have on here. I'm using Avery L temporary labels as my mask. The reason that I'm using that instead of actual masking paper is it is a pile of those things in a package, and it's less expensive. It's the same kind of paper. I don't reuse masks a whole lot, so reusing them isn't something, because I'm the only time I really mask is when I'm doing a Copic one layer card like this, because y'all know me, I don't like to fussy cut a whole lot, so I'm not going to make a whole lot of masks and things. And so that's what I did. I'm using that Avery, and I'll link to it. I think I got it from Amazon. I'm not an Amazon affiliate, so I don't use a whole lot of Amazon links. I'll see if I can't find it from Walmart, and because I am a Walmart affiliate, and see if I can't find it over there. Usually it's a little bit less expensive, and you can put it in your basket and pick it up at Walmart when you go for your regular grocery shopping. This video is going up during the great social distancing of 2020. This year has been very, very strange. We're in the middle of March right now. It has been abnormally warm here in Virginia. I actually have the air conditioning on in the middle of March because it's supposed to be in the 80s. And I'll go outside in a little while and walk, and it's beautiful, and the trees are already in bloom. It's the middle of March. It's crazy. And then we have also the coronavirus, and I have to keep my sense of humor about it. I call it the beer virus because I have to keep my sense of humor about it. You know, the only thing that's really closed around here are the churches are closed, and of course we're in the Bible Belt, so churches are doing streaming services on Sundays, and all the restaurants and stuff are closed. Most of them are doing pickup deliveries and to-go orders and deliveries. The restaurant that's right across the road from me that's really, really good that I absolutely love is Iron and Ale, and it's the locally owned little restaurant, and they have like a really great beer selection. I don't drink beer, but they have a really great beer selection, and they have amazing food, and they're doing delivery services, I think, in order to help their servers, so that the servers are still getting paid, money's still coming into the restaurant, so they're doing delivery services, I think, which was a really great idea on their part. And they're a locally owned restaurant, they're not a chain restaurant. So anyway, that's my social distancing isn't that big of a deal. I work from home now, and I enjoy working from home. We do a thing called co-working. It's a bunch of ladies that get together, and we start a Facebook video chat, and we will work for about 50 minutes and take a 10-minute break and that kind of thing, and we do that and talk to each other throughout the day. So I'm really not any different than what I usually am at this point. And actually working at Walmart out in the public for the past couple of months, as I did since like July, it was very, very, very exhausting for me mentally. I would literally come home, and that's one reason why you didn't see that many cards from me for so long, is I would come home and not only would my body be exhausted, but my mind, just from having to interact with people all day long in the manner in which we did. My neighborhood's full of kids right now, and we will hear them playing out in the parking lot later this afternoon and get to watch them play. Other than the fact that it terrifies my dog, hearing the kids play, she'll come upstairs being just absolutely shiver-mutting and terrified, and I'm not exactly sure why, but she's terrified of the kids playing outside. She doesn't go outside, but she's terrified of the kids' noise outside, which sometimes is kind of humorous because she's just like, Mom, I don't know what that noise is. Anyway, if you were friends with me on Facebook on my personal account, you may have seen some of my cat pictures of my Nina kitty, who's doing much better than she was. she sits and looks at me at the same time every day of, woman, get up off your butt and feed me, I'm hungry. And it's the same time and it's the same way every single day, and it's absolutely the most stinking hilarious thing ever. Because she has this very, very, very stern look upon her adorable little face. And her sister Daisy is just kind of like, nope, I don't care, feed me, don't feed me. I'm just here, and I'm just in your way so that you remember that I'm here. Daisy's pretty much a laid-back kitty. She stays away from absolutely everything and everybody. She's terrified of the world. She's a cat. She's not terrified of the world. She's just a cat. So anyway, back to the card here after my rambling of what's going on in the world. I am not really talking about my Copic coloring because, if y'all remember, I am just getting back into the groove of it again. So the one thing that I will say about Copic coloring, if you haven't done it for a while, it's kind of like riding a bike. You don't forget how to do it, but you still need to practice a little bit. So y'all are basically seeing me practice with this card. My lampshade did not go as I planned it in my head, and that's perfectly okay. It has a pattern on it. It is what it is. I'm okay with it. The one thing that I will say is how I colored the lampstand here. In order for it to look like it is a little more rounded than flat, instead of doing flicks, I drew lines. And I actually went back through this twice to give it more oomph, because when you, the W's and the C's in the grays, they will wash each other out. When you start going from the darkest to the lightest, they wash each other out a lot. So I went back through, I colored it the first time, and then I went back through and did it again because my paper was wet. They would automatically blend together instantly, and I just made sure that I kept the edge of that really, really dark. For my lampshade, I went over it with the lightest color all the way around, and I kind of wanted it to look more like it was pleated. I just didn't do the pleats very well. I didn't pay attention to where my lines were going and where I would be, and so it ends up looking like it's a pattern in my lampshade. I'm good with the pattern in my lampshade. You know, there's patterns in lampshades all the time, so I'm good with it. And I just went over it with a couple different colors, getting wider and wider, so it does look like it's a little bit pleated, and it's different colors in it. Then I went over everything with my lightest color, and like the lampshade. It is not what I pictured in my head, but you know, sometimes you have to go with what you got, and I went with what I got. So thank you so much for joining me in my Copic adventures and sharing a little bit about my world right now during the social distancing of 2020. I hope everybody is happy, healthy, and safe. Get out your crafty supplies, get crafty, teach your kids something crafty, relax and do something crafty. Just enjoy the time that you have with your family right now, and don't stress about, oh my goodness, is the world coming to an end? The world is not coming to an end. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, want to share a funny story, reach out to me. I'll be happy to talk to you. And you can see me over on Facebook, Jill Cameron Creations, Instagram, Jill Cameron Creations. Don't forget that if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see some behind the scenes stuff. If you follow me over on Facebook, you'll see Facebook Lives every once in a while. I'm going to do one actually later on this afternoon, about 2 o'clock, and I'll be talking about different inks. And come and visit. I love to hear from you. Thanks so much for joining me today. Don't forget to hit subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss a single thing. I'll be doing more Copic videos, and hopefully you will see me next week as well when the Save the Crafty YouTuber video hop comes up on the 25th. Don't forget that. That's 80 plus crafters getting together, and you'll have some prizes as well. Thanks so much. Y'all have an amazing day.